Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm Paige. I'm an alcoholic and an honorary member of Monday Big Book. I never miss a Monday. Never been. Love it. So here for it. All right. So yeah, let's talk about resentments. Although I did hear a rumor that there were no resentments in Squamish. Yeah, but if you drive closer to like the greater Vancouver area, you seem to pick them up for some reason. Now, if you go up to Pembleton, the fears will leave you. Is that true? But what is a resentment? A resentment is a re-feeling of a negative emotion. So a negative thing, or I perceive a negative thing has happened in my life. And it doesn't matter whether it was 20, 30, 40 years ago or 20, 30, 40 minutes ago. I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my soul. I feel it in my guts. And I'm not okay. And if you're like, man, what is a resentment like? I have a sponsee that I work with, and sometimes when we're talking about the 10th step and the necessity of pausing and the necessity of watching, she's like, I don't know when I see it. So what does a resentment feel like? Well, I'll tell you about me. See, I got a head that goes. Man, I got to start my day with 30 minutes of meditation. I'm not even kidding. Like, we need a lot of work to get this little noodle to be quiet. And so, for me, one of the first signs that I've got a resentment is that my mind is starting to tell the story again and again and again. But they should have, I should have, they should have, how dare they, how could they have, that story again and again. Now, some people will feel it more in their body, the twist in the stomach, the tension in the shoulders, the racing of the heart, the flushing of the face. And here is if you're like, I don't know about all that, here's the most surefire way to determine whether or not you have a resentment. Your sponsor tells you you have one, and you're like, no, no, it's not a resentment. And that's when we bring out what I like to call the spiritual thesaurus. I'm not going to use that at any point else in my life, except when I'm told I got a resentment. I pull out that spiritual thesaurus, and I'm like, it's not a resentment. I'm just a little frustrated. I'm a little perturbed. I am irritable. You know, we'll find any other way to have it not be a resentment. But here's the thing, if I am debating, it's a resentment. You see, from resentment stems all form of spiritual disease. And as an alcoholic, I have a twofold illness that is fueled by a sense of disconnection from a power. At root, at base, I have a spiritual malady, something inside of me that is screaming out in pain, and it demands treatment. And you see, if I hold on to that resentment, it will block me from that light. It will block me from that power, and it is fatal. I don't have the luxury of a resentment. I will say, though, this is just experiential. You can get a lot of cleaning done on a good resentment. Ooh, I know you guys in Squamish. You guys don't rage clean, so you guys are just spiritual giants over here. But me, there's a time or two I've done a rage clean. So what do we do? And so to pick up where we left off with the reading, bottom of 66, we turn back to the list, for it held the key to the future. Now that list is, who am I resentful at? Why am I resentful? And the ways in which this resentment affected me. The I, me, my's. And it says we are prepared to look at it from an entirely different angle. So to get free of resentments, I need a 180 experience, not a 360. Then I'm doing loop-de-loops, but a 180 experience. We began to see that this world and its people really dominated us. In that state, the wrongdoings of others, fancied or real, had the power to actually kill. You see, every single time I come up to a resentment, I think it is real. I have been harmed, I have been wronged, I have been hard done by. But what I will find out is 99% of my resentments are fancy. And if I do well at managing time with spoilers, I'm not taking your time. They're going to do a full 15 after. But I'll talk about what I have done and what I suggest the people that I work with have done with those real resentments. So the wrongdoings of others, fancied or real, had the power to actually kill. How could we escape? I just want to note the words that we're using. Escape. This is something that has held me captive. I can't live free in the here and now, and I can't experience a sense of peace and serenity when I'm still stuck in me and how you done me wrong. So we saw that these resentments must be mastered, but how? We could not wish them away any more than alcohol. You see, I am just as powerless over the resentment as I am the first drink. I cannot overcome by myself. No, I'm not resentful. No, I'm not angry. No, it doesn't bother me. I'm over it. I really let it go. I'm free. I can't. Just like I need a power greater than myself to allow me to be free from the obsession of the mind that takes me back again and again to the first drink. Just that much do I need to be free. That power to allow me to be free from my resentments. So this was our course. We realized that the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick. Now, when we see that word sick, it might have a bit of a different connotation in 2025, but when we talk about sick, I'm talking about in pain. I'm talking about hurting. I'm talking that they have that black sludge within their soul that's eating them alive, alcoholic or not. So it's as though we did not like their symptoms. That's column 2 of resentment. And the way these disturbed us, that's column 3. They, like ourselves, were sick too. And then it says, we asked. Now, this is the resentment prayer. And this, man, if you are new to the idea of looking at our resentments, this is radical. Have we ever heard, we pray for the people that we resent? We have directions for that. That's on page 552. But I'm going to point something out. On the top of 67, the sick man prayer, the resentment prayer. We're not praying for them. I'm praying so that I be changed, because I can't change myself. So bear with me. It says, we ask God to help us show them. God, help me to show this person, this institution, this principle, the same tolerance, pity, and patience that we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. When a person offended, we said to ourselves, this is a sick person or institution or principle. How can I be helpful to them? God, save me from being angry. Thy will be done. How can I be helpful to them? I mean, this is how we know this is some God stuff. Because is that intuitive to any? Okay, it's intuitive to all of you in Squamish. You're spiritual giants. You're like, yes, you cut me off in traffic. Let me be of love and service. But I'll tell you, out in Alberta, that's not how we do. We need a rigorous course of action to allow God to flow through our lives. But you guys are amazing. How can I be helpful to them? That is a radical idea. I'm not asking that they be changed. I'm asking that I get changed, because whenever I am disturbed, no matter what the cause, there's something in me that needs to change, and I cannot change me with me. I need a power that is greater than me to flow through me. And on page 67, that's where I allow that presence to flow. I begin to see this whole situation in a radically new way. Now, when we get into that 4th column, and I want to get into that 4th column place when I'm at step 10, when I'm at step 11, or I'm in my 4th step. The first thing that I want to do is when it says, top of 67, though we did not like their symptoms and the way these disturbed us, they, like ourselves, were sick too. They, like ourselves. So the first prompt after I say that prayer that I want to look at is, have I done these things? Have I done these things that I am resentful about? Have I done these things that I was hurt by? And I know you guys would never cut anyone off in traffic. But we in Alberta, we do that. Have I ever? And I'm going to spoil it. Yes. The answer is yes. If somebody stole from you and you weren't a thief, yes. Did I steal the sleep from my loved ones? Did I steal their peace of mind when I would go missing? Did I would steal their serenity? You know what I mean? The answer is always yes. And I figure out how. And then I see that they are hurting and suffering just as I am hurting and suffering. And I see them in a radically new way. And on page 62, it talks about how selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles. Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity, we step on the toes of our fellows, and they retaliate. See, I'm in a resentment. I'm all upset about their retaliation, but I cannot see that I stepped first. And it says sometimes they hurt us seemingly without provocation. I was out here minding my own business innocently, and they just came and did me harm willy-nilly. Can you believe that, guys? Wild. And it says sometimes they hurt us seemingly without provocation, but we invariably means always. Invariably means always. Find that at some time in the past, we have made decisions based on self, which later put me in a position to be hurt. So what I want to look for is, where did I make a decision based on self, a selfish, self-centered, self-seeking decision that put me in a position to make the resentment come into fruition in the first place? Now on page 67, I'm skipping around, skipping the paragraph after the prayer. It says, referring to our list again, putting out of our minds the wrongs others had done, we resolutely look for our own mistakes. And it says, where had we been? Not had we been. So I got some news. I had been. Oh no, I've been all these things. Now all these things that are coming. Selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and frightened. So that's what I want to look. I want to look, where in this situation was I selfish? Where was I create a rule book I expect you to follow? Where was I playing God in your life? Where did I show up with unreasonable, unfair, uncommunicated expectations? Where was I controlling? And then where was I dishonest? And that could look like lying, manipulating. Now I know you guys would never do this. People pleasing? Just me. Not setting boundaries, not communicating, walls, masks, ego, and image maintenance. I need to look a certain way so that you like me. And then self-seeking, seeking my sense of value and worth and esteem and approval from another human being. The need to be right and seen as right. I'll create a hierarchy, and I'll put you at the top and me at the bottom. And I'll judge and criticize and gossip so I get a boost to better than ego. And I feel worse after. And then fear. Where am I driven by that fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear that who I am is not enough, fear of who I am is not enough, and you all see it. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear to communicate, fear of confrontation, fear of communication. Those are different. It took me some inventory to see that. And when I get that all down on paper, I see the truth about the situation, and I see the truth about who I am. Now I'm going to bounce this around real quick, because the directions that we are given in the fourth step, man, I don't pick them up and put them down. The directions that I get in the fourth step, I'm going to use in step 10. See, the directions in step 10, it's on page 84 if you're bouncing with me. It talks about how this is not an overnight matter. Oh man, not an overnight matter. I hope it's not going to continue very long. It should continue for our lifetime. Aw. And it says continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. And so it says when, not if. When these crop up. I'm not trying to pretend I don't have resentments. I will have resentments. I am a human being. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. I turn to prayer. Then we discuss them with someone immediately. Now, when I discuss them with someone, what I do is I utilize those same columns that I learned and utilized in the fourth step. And so if I want to be free of resentment, I don't know what you guys need to do, but what I need to do is I need to utilize that spiritual process which radicalizes how I view the world and how I see that situation. And I need to share it with somebody just as I did in the fifth step. And then, and here's, if I want to be free of resentment, this is the key. Make amends quickly if we've harmed anyone. And that is, now everyone's like, your time is done, Paige. I don't want to hear that. Gross. Yuck. Who invited her? I think it was a committee decision, but so listen, if we're upset with the speaker, you'll have to join the committee and get involved next year. See what I did? We're tying it in. Service. Woo. So what do I got to do? I got to make amends. And there's nothing more powerful than when I see that I was wrong and I set it right. And then what do? I turn my thoughts to someone I can help. And that allows me to get out of me, to get into that flow, to get in that place of connection, and to live in the world of the Spirit. And we look at those exact same things in the 11th step in the evening review process. Because this program offers grace. I'm not expected to be perfect. I'm not expected to not have resentments or fears or selfishness or dishonesty. I will, because I am a human being and I'm not exempt from the human experience. But the program of action that is laid before us in the book Alcoholics Anonymous gives us the ability to move through those. It meets us where we're at. It meets us in our resistance. It meets us in our resentment. And it gives somebody like me the course of action that I need to take in order to get free, to live in the sunlight of the Spirit. I don't have to be perfect. I just need to be willing. And how am I for time? 15 minutes. I'm going to wrap this up in 30 seconds. Oh boy. What I want you to know is if you're here today and you're hearing how I describe with resentments, and you've had things like childhood abuse, your brain is immediately, whoa. I didn't make a decision based on self that put me in a position to be hurt. I didn't deserve that. I was a child. And I want you to know I agree. I agree. You did not deserve it. You did not deserve to be treated the way that you were treated as a child. But the wrongdoings of others, fancied or real, have the power to kill. So we need to get free of that just as much as we need to get free of the jerk that, is cutting in front of us off in traffic. And so the course is similar. I need to go to prayer. And there might be times where we need outside help. And if you need that, that is okay. But instead of looking at before the resentment, I look at after. As an adult, did I not seek help for it? As an adult, did I not talk about it? As an adult, did I drink at it? As an adult, did I re-victimize myself? As an adult, did I use it as a reason to continue the behavior that I was continuing? And as an adult, did I hurt others with it? And that's where we can begin. And that's where healing begins. So I'm sorry to leave it on a heavy note, but I want to thank you guys so much for the opportunity to share. It's such a privilege, and I'm honored to be on this panel with all of you. So thank you so much.